Is this a bad feeling for the first time I have lived for my husband and family for more than 40 years? But now I'm 74 years old, and for the first time in my life, I know the warmth that my heart and body really wanted. Hello everyone, welcome to the secret-based channel of Love and Love for Adults. Today, I would like to talk about the true nature of the hearts and bodies of women in their 70s. In the world, we, the elderly, are already quietly spending the night, and we tend to be thought of as such a wind. But in fact, our bodies and hearts are still looking for joy and warmth to live. It's been 3 years since my husband passed away, and I'm now in a new relationship with a 67-year-old man. From my only son, I was fiercely criticized as a motherly act, but contrary to the words of the eyes and sons of the world, my body and heart honestly express warm joy. Before that, if you are at all interested in this story, I would be very happy if you could stop the video and subscribe to the channel and press the high rating button. Your recommended videos will continue to make it easier for the real voices of the senior generation to be displayed, so please listen. My name is Miyamoto and Miyamoto Miyako. I am 74 years old. When I was young, I went to the bank and worked hard until I was retired. I got married at the age of 30 and lost my husband, Taro, who I had taken with me for 40 years, to a disease 3 years ago. My only son, Takeshi, is 46 years old and has a wife and 2 high school students. Taro Totono was a man in charge of a large company. He was a man who took care of his precious face, a little stubborn personality, and social status more than anything else. On the surface, our marital life was perfect without any problems, and even in our neighborhood we were said to be the ideal couple. But on the inside, it was always a day when I was out of breath obeying my husband's wishes. The color of my clothes, the relationship with my friends, and the way I spent the weekend. All of them needed a husband. In particular, in the relationship of the night of the couple. It was a one-way street where only his hair was prioritized. Even if I felt pain, even if I wanted it to end soon, I was not allowed to say anything. But at the time, I thought it was normal. Women endure, and husbands keep quiet. That's how I was taught by my parents and society. When Toto died, his face of course gave me deep sadness. But deep down in my heart, in a place where no one can see it, I finally thought I was free. Even though I remember the strong sense of guilt that I feel in such a wind. The days after Toto passed away were more open than I expected. For the first time in my life, I didn't care about anyone's face color, and I bought a bright red sweater that Toto forbade me to wear every day. I tried to dye my hair a bright color instead of hiding my freckles. The number of times I went out on a date with my close friends has increased since before, but the eyes of the people around me were still strict. Even though I hadn't opened my throat yet, I was wearing such a flashy dress at that age. Sometimes I heard such rumors, in particular, my husband's sister. A lawyer said to me, "Mr. Taro is sad in heaven." At that time, I was a little depressed, but my son Ken, who was used to crying, encouraged me to change my mood. It was a karaoke class held at a local culture center. I've liked singing since I was young, but my husband said, I can't sing in front of people, and he never allowed me to sing. There, I met Akira. Akira is a man who is a former music teacher who is 3 years and 67 years old. He praised me with a gentle smile. My song is wonderful, full of emotions, and it resonates in my heart. Even though I hadn't been praised even once for 40 years after the lesson, I had more opportunities to have tea at a cafe near the classroom with Akira. When I talk to him strangely, my heart is at ease and I can smile naturally. Such a gentle and equal relationship was very fresh to me. But at the same time, there was also an unspeakable anxiety. At this age, I'm so close to other than my husband. What do people in the world say? What do my sons and nieces think? My heart was shaking with the feeling of worrying about such a world. On the way home from the lesson the next day, Akira invited me to eat the food I made at home. I hesitated for a moment, but I nodded with confidence in his sincere eyes. On the promised day, I visited his apartment with a little nervousness. His room was so clean that I didn't think he lived alone, and I could see the scenery of the green park from the window. All the dishes he made were elegant and surprisingly delicious, and the conversation while drinking wine was so fun and peaceful that I forgot the time. While we were talking, I found out that he had been deeply lonely since he lost his wife 5 years ago. Perhaps the gap between each other's loneliness and heart naturally resonated. That night, I turned 74 years old and became a man and a woman for the first time in over 40 years with a man other than my husband. The warm feeling at that time was a kind of joy that I had never known in my life. I always felt like I had to do something at night, and I was always thinking about ending it early, but Akira was different. He always confirmed my feelings, so he took great care of the subtle reactions of my body. He treated me as if I were a broken object. He was kind and polite. When I turned 74 years old, I learned the true meaning of a relationship that is respected as a woman for the first time in my life. Of course, I feel the shyness of my body. I don't go like I did when I was young, but when my heart is so happy, my body answers me honestly. As it is. We spent a secret time at his house about once a week. A time for only the two of us that no one can tell. But that relationship will someday shine a light on my faded life. The joy of living was irreplaceable. It was one weekend when such peaceful days continued. Suddenly my son's wife and son-in-law came to my house without any contact. They said they had a consultation about the death of the devil. In the middle of the conversation, Ken suddenly put out his smartphone in front of me. There was a picture of me and Akira walking on the way home from the supermarket. It seemed that a neighbor had seen it by chance and contacted Ken. Ken blushed and became angry. It hasn't been 3 years since my father died. What the hell are you doing? It's a shameful act as a mother. I didn't even think that the world would hear the embarrassing rumors of my mother. My wife, who was sitting next to me, just silently looked down. I was stuck in words. Certainly, from the common sense of the world, it may be inevitable to be evacuated. But for the first time in my life, I found a relationship where my heart and body were so happy. I found a relationship where my heart and body were so happy. Why does my son blame me so stupidly? Such inhumane thoughts also came up at the same time. Ken asked me how many times I met Akira, what kind of relationship we had, and how far we were going. He pursued me in detail, as if interrogating a criminal. I couldn't tell him everything, honestly. But Akira was serious and honest. I tried my best to tell him that he was a good person, but Ken just looked at me with cold eyes. He didn't believe me. That night, in the heavy air, my son and his wife went home. In the courtyard, Ken said coldly, I went back to my room and stood in front of the mirror. I saw the face of a 74-year-old old woman with deep wrinkles on her face. At this age, why is it so difficult to live honestly and freely with your feelings? Tears overflowed endlessly. Have you ever been at odds with the opinion of the world and your family and your true feelings? What did you prioritize at that time, and what decision did you make? If you don't mind, could you share your experience and thoughts in the comments section? After that, for a while I was holding back from meeting Akira. It was because my son's words were stuck in my heart like thorns. But as the day went by, my heart was screaming strongly, I want to meet him. Honestly, I want to hear his voice. When a week had passed, I made up my mind. I called Akira. He seemed to be very worried that I had contacted him just by listening to my voice on the phone. A warm voice came back from the bottom of my heart. That night, we met at a quiet cafe in the outskirts of town. I told him honestly about what happened between me and my son Akira. Just shut up and listen to me until the end. And after hearing everything, I asked him directly, how do you feel? Miyako. His simple question resonated strongly in the deepest part of my heart, my feelings. That's right. Looking back for the past 70 years, I have always been, for my husband, for my son, and for the sake of the world, I have always put my true feelings behind me. I want to live the rest of my life for myself. When I said that my tears overflowed like a stone, am I doing something wrong? We don't hurt anyone. We just care about each other. Takira gently held my hand. Miyako, you have lived enough for someone else. You haven't done anything wrong. From now on, you should value your own happiness. His warm words made me feel like I was freed from something that had been weighing on me for 7 years. That's right, I haven't done anything wrong. Now that I'm 74 years old, it's not a sin to live in a way that pleases my heart and body. When I got home, I called my son. He was still a little angry, but I was quiet, but I said it clearly. I've been doing my best for my father for 40 years, but I'm going to live the rest of my life for myself. Takira, my relationship with my mother is not something you should worry about. We respect each other and support each other. It's an important relationship. You may not be able to understand it right away, but please watch your mother's choices. My son shut up for a moment over the phone, and he said, I still don't understand. But in the end, if my mother is happy with that, she said I won't say anything anymore. It may not have been a complete understanding, but for me, it was a big, big step. The next week, Akira and I got together again. This time, I'm not going to hide my eyes like I used to, but I'm going to eat at a cafe or a restaurant in the afternoon. Sometimes we cook together at his house and listen to music and spend a quiet time. And sometimes we ask each other and put our bodies together. We don't have any plans to do anything right now. We respect each other's lifestyle and each other's space and meet twice a week. This is the most comfortable for us right now. My friends in the city sometimes say I envy you, Miyako. In the meantime, I'm not ashamed to date a new man at this age. Some people were a little mean, but I don't care anymore. The other day, a high school student named Mamo came to my house alone and she said, Grandma Dad told me that I had a new boyfriend. She said it with a little mischievous eyes. I was so excited and said, yes, that's right. To be honest, Mamo said, yeah, that's great. If Grandma seems to be happy and having fun, that's the best, I said, and laughed. Maybe the younger generation is much more flexible and has a better understanding. Through my relationship with Takira, I was made aware of something important. The body does get older, to be honest. There are no more violent reactions like when I was young. But when my heart is open and satisfied, my body responds warmly and happily. And above all, if you have a deep love and respect for your partner, regardless of age, a deep and fulfilled bond is born. My body is no longer young. I have more wrinkles, and I'm worried about sagging. But Akira said, all of Miyako is beautiful to me. He said it with a serious look. At the age of 74, for the first time in my life, I was able to fix my body. Now, Akira and I have a peaceful and fulfilling relationship. There is no need to worry about the eyes of the world anymore. It's just a warm day where we value and respect each other. After turning 70, I finally realized something. In life, there may be no one who has decided what to do. No matter how old you are, the right to live your own way belongs to everyone. And regardless of our body and mind, regardless of age, we have the power to feel joy and be loved. In a relationship with my husband, I never knew how important it is to listen to the voice of your own body. Most of the time, I think from the bottom of my heart and feel the warmth of the relationship. Now that I've come to the twilight of my life, I might have finally learned what it really means. My son still doesn't fully understand what it means to be loved. Even so, He is now quietly watching over my choices. The other day, Takira also had the opportunity to have a meal with his son's family. At first, it was a little awkward conversation, but I'm sure that little by little, the relationship will move in the right direction. Even in our 70s, our bodies are honest. If the heart is happy, the body will respond warmly. It's different from when I was young. It's a calm and deep feeling, but there's still a certain joy in it. I've already stopped putting a lid on my feelings. I chose to live honestly. That's why I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, age is just a number. Please listen more and more to the voice of your heart and body. In the second half of your life, I want you to be more yourself, and I want you to cherish what your heart and body really want. Am I a bad girl? Even if the world says so, I have no regrets. From now on, I will continue to respect each other calmly with Mr. Akira, and sometimes I will spend every day with my own passion. That's the truth of my heart and body in my 70s. So I look forward to your opinions, impressions, and comments. If you have had the same experience, please share your story as well. And if this story touched your heart even a little, please subscribe to the channel. Next time I will deliver the real voice of the senior generation of Toshindai. Thank you very much.